What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Fantasy Tap. My name is Michael, and this is Brooks and John. If you haven't seen Brooks' face, you didn't watch the draft party. He's new to the Fantasy Tap. He is our third host.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's fantastic to be a part of the Fantasy Tap, and I'm just looking forward to making some great content with the both of you.
Yes, it's going to be good. A new, fresh perspective on the NFL and fantasy football.
And
so it's going to be fun.
The listener league, the free listener league, no prize won, but I believe he was the winner of the second league this year.
I was.
Yes, he was.
I was indeed. So I have a bit of championship knowledge and experience to bring to the table. Just going to throw that out there.
More than some people.
John, how many championships do you have?
2.
Yay.
Three.
Let's go. Let's go, John.
I got one in a family league a couple years ago that was really unexpected because I picked late and took some trash first round picks that I can't even remember right now. But I won that league somehow.
Congratulations.
I'm really proud of myself. Clap it up.
Clap it up. All right, y'all. If you haven't read the title, we are here for a rookie mock draft, doing 4 rounds of the newest additions to the NFL. All the rookies, baby. 4 rounds. Let's go. 12 picks, half PPR. Let's get on over there. I've got the first pick. Brooks has the 5th, and John has the 9th. We gonna get this started. We argued over who would be if we should do if somebody should be in the 1 spot, and we ultimately said yes. Unfortunately, I got stuck with it. So
you advocated for it, so obviously you know who you're going to be picking here. You've done your research. This is no questions asked. This is everyone. If you're picking from the 1-1, you need to follow this like it's the Holy Bible or another book.
Yes. So it's funny. I will say this. John thinks I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm not. Brooks and I actually had a conversation when he was off camera, and he made some very good points. So I'm going to go with Breece Hall. Originally, it was going to be Kenneth Walker. But he convinced me. It's Breece Hall. The reason being is the fact that he believes, and he's a Jets fan, as you can see, but he believes Michael Carter won't have as big a role as everybody is building up to be. And I kind of think that could be true. You don't trade up for somebody to not be the go-to guy. Plus, Breece Hall was unanimously almost the best running back coming out. I was going to say Kenneth Walker, and I do believe there are some wide receivers that you can argue that could be a first-round pick. Kenneth Walker's in a good situation, only behind Rashad Penny with Chris Carson having the neck injury and stuff like that. With Rashad Penny's history, I do think Kenneth Walker will start at some point this season. So, but yeah, Breece Hall, it's my pick.
I love the pick.
I'm questionable. I mean, obviously, this is a really solid draft to be picking early, just because there's a lot of players that can do a lot as first-year impact. So I don't think there's any wrong picks yet, especially not until we start seeing some camp stuff. But as of right now, I don't think you can really go wrong as long as you pick in the top 10.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so Kenneth Walker went. Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Sir Brooks is on the board.
He's got no time.
Yeah, no time at all. But I do know what I'm going to do here. I mean, we're looking at. I'm looking at the receivers here, the top receivers. After Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall go off the board, we're not really looking at too much at running back. Not really to invest this high of a first round pick yet, in my opinion. Not a top 5. I really wanted to go Garrett Wilson here, but we're going to go Treylon Burks because he's not available. They need to fill a void in Tennessee, 4 targets, 4 big plays, and Treylon Burks, most people were saying going into the draft process that his most similar comp is none other than A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown.
So it's very, very convenient that when you get rid of AJ Brown, the same night you draft his comp. I mean, I've heard that all over the place. I sound like a broken record. So,
Okay.
I mean, in that spot, at the 5 spot, I know a lot of people that are possibly considering him as the 1 in this position and in this draft. So, in the 1-5 spot, I love it, especially if you need a receiver. Like in my league that I'm in, I desperately need receivers. I would love this pick if it were me.
All right.
Which it was.
Like you
Which
said,
it was.
like you said, there's an AJ Brown sized hole in that offense. Robert Woods may or may not be healthy the start of the season, so he's going to get thrown right in. Should see a sizable workload with no AJ Brown there.
All right. So I'm over at the 9 spot. I was going to take James Cook. I do think that he's going to have a huge role in Buffalo. And like Mike's been saying leading into the draft, that Buffalo's a solid running back away from being a deep run Super Bowl team. And we already see the lineage and the pedigree of this man in Dalvin Cook. Great coach to have at home every Thanksgiving Thursday when he's not running for 100 yards. But with 24 seconds left on the clock, I'm going to take one of the possible best receivers in the class going to one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We're going to go Christian Watson over in Green Bay, filling a possible void for Aaron Rodgers, hopefully keeping this man happy. Now, they gave away their number 1 receiver in the offseason and Devontae Adams, like everyone knows. And you don't think that Aaron Rodgers would be excited or happy to be playing for a team if they weren't going to invest in a receiver that's ready to go right now, not looking for a development project when he's on a year-to-year contract right now. So they think that Christian Watson can be someone special.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick right there in that spot. I mean, to me, he is the last receiver of the ones that have been picked so far, other than the last 3, but up until that point, that has high upside this year. Tremendously high.
Yes.
With the quarterback he's going to and stuff like that, and the receiving core they have there in Green Bay.
Absolutely.
I've even seen him go 1-1. John and I are in a draft right now. He went 1-1.
Currently fielding offers if you're in our draft.
That's wild. That's wild.
I think that's too high for Christian Watkins, even though the upside is through the roof, being that Aaron Rodgers is throwing you the ball. But you have to ask yourself, how many years is he going to be throwing you the ball? What happens afterwards? But he does have the size and the specs to be a great receiver.
You have the guy you have the guy they traded up for.
How could I forget? I apologize.
All right, here sitting at the 2-1, there's one name that's really staring out to me. He was a baller in college. He did tear his ACL though. In a team that doesn't need him right away, somebody I can have on my team for down the road. That's John Mechie. I think he's a tremendous talent.
Okay.
And in that situation, especially with Brandon Cooks, he just signed an extension, but he's starting to get a little older. I do think that Mechie, in a year or two, could take over that wide receiver 1 role.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he can have an impact if he comes, if he gets into camp this season and is just balling and that injury's not holding him back whatsoever. You're talking about someone that could step right into a role. Like you said, Brandon Cooks just got signed for another 2 years. Nico Collins started showing up late last season. He's a big body, big frame guy, and Mechie can really open up the top. So, hey, he could have some good, solid year 1 impact. I like that, actually.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's not bad. I like it.
The only reason why I didn't go Wan'Dale Robinson, who was one of my favorite prospects coming out, is because of his landing spot. Sad.
Yes, fair.
So, all right, Brooks, you up.
Very nice. Yeah, so with my pick here, I'm actually going to kind of, excuse me, I'm kind of echo the same direction that Mike was talking about. With he was kind of eyeing that running back from Washington. I'm at this spot in particular. I'm actually eyeing the running back from Houston, Dameon Pierce.
No.
And the reason why I'm doing that is simply because of landing spot. Now we know that this kid's talented, but I mean the wide receiver, the running back, I guess camp in Houston is wide open and prime for a 22-year-old stud to come on in there, take some serious reps away from literally anybody else, and eventually maintain control of the backfield. I don't think it'll happen right away, but I think it's definitely primed to happen in the future. So that's going to be my pick there with my second round pick.
Nice and then pick. The next guy who's going to take one right after you, Alec Pierce from Cincinnati, who's going over to the Indianapolis Colts, was going to be my grab there. I think he's got another shot for some solid year one with Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman on the offense. So now I'm looking out here, and we're kind of at that situation where we're a little later in the draft, and we're looking for some good value. The running backs, there is a running back that I like that I don't think he's going to come back to me. So I'm actually going to take a strong move forward here. And I'm actually going to go and pick up Zamir White.
Nice. I love that pick.
I really wanted to make sure I left this draft with him, and he does not look like he's going to fall to me at the 3-9. So we're talking about a guy that is going to be backing up Josh Jacobs, who has not seen a healthy season since he's been in the NFL. Not to mention that he's going to be coming up for a contract year. And at some point, Zamir White was going to be one of the top 3 running backs drafted in this class. He's absolutely studly, coming from a celebrated team that had one of the most first-round draft picks in recent history. So I do think that he's going to be a stud and that he's going to be a very, very sneaky pick. So if you don't have to spend too much to grab him, he's someone that I've been really trying to focus on.
Nice. Yes, that's a very good pick. Especially, I don't know if you with Josh Jacobs not getting his 5th-year option picked up. This is his last year in that offense. So Zamir White is definitely somebody I am targeting in the 2nd round. I mean, really, anytime I can get him, if I can get him in the late 2nd, early 3rd, I'd even take a shot on him. Around where Isaiah Spiller went, at the beginning of the 2nd. So,
quick question about the Raiders. They still have Kenyon Drake on the roster too.
But
that was going to lead me into what John was saying before about injury history. I mean, you talk about injury history with Josh Jacobs. I mean, Kenyon Drake, the same thing. So you can easily, expect maybe both running backs to possibly go down. And then, this guy here has got a pretty nice shot of leading the backfield.
And I'm pretty sure we saw that last season where both of them were out for a game. If not, Kenyon was out and Josh Jacobs was banged up going into the game. But even Kenyon Drake took a restructure this year. I don't think he has a lot of long-term value with the team other than a complementary back that can be used as in the backfield maybe a little bit. But I'm not too worried about him. I think that their goal now is Zamir White. Like I do think that he's going to have a big impact.
Yeah.
If not now, then soon.
Yeah.
So
like the pick.
Looking at the draft board, what is your least favorite pick? Maybe not one of ours, but in general.
This is actually kind of it's not really the way that I expected it to go, but I mean, I can kind of see it going this way. I'm not surprised that James Cook went in the 1st. I just haven't seen a lot of mocks where it actually happens, but in this mock it happens, and I'm sure it's going to be happening a lot because of the landing spot. It's obviously very intriguing, being that he went to the Bills, and the extra little tag of, this is Dalvin Cook's brother, kind of makes it an even sexier pick to kind of get him on your squad.
Right.
So but I don't really see anything that's like standing out as crazy. Maybe the fact that Treylon Burks went off the board at 5, but then again, there's a lot of talent here at the very front end. I mean, I think the front end is loaded. But yeah.
So what I'm seeing is I think that the run of running backs that we had in the 2nd round, in that early part of the 2nd, I don't think we're going to see that in real drafts. I think a lot of people at that point in the draft, like early 2nd round, you're kind of looking for that still trying to find that hit. And I think you have a better shot of finding that with like a receiver who's in a great landing spot versus grabbing a running back who's going to be like Isaiah Spiller, who's going to be backing up Austin Eckler on a team where they've been drafting running backs every season now, trying to work them in. Rashad White, going to Tampa. I mean, they just signed Leonard Fournette to a long-term, nice, solid paying deal. So again, going to be filling in a little bit, kind of working himself in there. So I think that you're going to be seeing them kind of go should be going towards the middle end of the second round versus early.
Yeah, that's kind of, I agree with you, John. I don't think we see the running backs, unless it's a very running back needy team. I don't think we see a run at the beginning, more closer to the end, because of the wide receiver depth. This class has always been talked about, the depth at wide receiver and the amount of solid talent coming out. So yeah, I'm going to agree there. But yeah, let's jump into the last two rounds. And
but before you do that, I'm actually going to announce a pretty interesting thing that I saw that I think when we get closer to the season, it's not good. This isn't going to be the case anymore. Do you guys see George Pickens at 112? Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the case when we get closer to the actual season starting. That might be the case now, but I know my league, for example, the one that I run, that I've been in for a long time, we draft more closer to season. I think George Pickens is actually a pretty good, not a lock to like lead this class in receiving yards, but I think he's got a really good shot at it. I mean, this kid's a baller, but he has the potential to be Antonio Brown 2.0 from what I'm hearing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But
I think this is my take on it, because I thought you were going to go the other way. I thought you were going to say we see him drop. And that's kind of how I see it going. I think only because you've got Claypool, you've got Deontay Johnson, you've got Pat Freiermuth on that offense, you've got a rookie quarterback and Mitch Trubisky leading that. I don't see George Pickens beating out either of those two guys, either Johnson or Claypool. So I kind of see him falling, if anything, which could be good. I'd love to grab him with my second pick sometime in the round, and I know the skill's there. The skill's obviously there. But I am just worried about how much he plays this year especially, and what happens at the quarterback spot. So that's my only concern with him.
Pickens for me right now, I think he's going to fall a little bit more between draft time and now. I don't think it's going to be too much. The initial issue for me is just the total volume because of the offense that he's a part of and how there's options on every other front for them to look. But there's no depth on that team either. So he's going to have value. People are going to see that. But once we get into camps and we start seeing who's practicing with first teams and all those news starts breaking and blah, 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 we're going to start seeing guys that are going to be going in the second and third round of this draft now shoot right up to the first round because they've been practicing with first team. Right. And so I think that he's someone who's probably going to be in that group. So you're probably looking at him as one of the top 8 to 10 receivers out of the class right now, as far as what you can expect this year. And I think that by draft time, it's going to be a little bit more quarterbacks starting to get the hype up, running back starting to get more mention and talk, and some of these other guys starting to just kind of start edging him out until he finds his nice happy landing spot. I'm thinking like pick 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's something interesting I've also noticed in this draft that we've just partaken in. And I don't think this is going to be the case when we get closer to the season as well. Not a quarterback in the first 2 rounds.
Well, we do have it set up as a single quarterback league, I believe.
Yes.
So,
but I'm going to surprise you. I'm glad you said that.
No, you're not taking. You're not taking it now.
Let's go into the third round. Thank you that was a perfect segue. Because I know he's not making it back to me. I know John's taking him. So I'm going to take him, and you saw me fly by Kenny Pickett, and I'm taking Desmond Ridder. I think he is the best, has the highest ceiling, and will be the best quarterback in this draft. I've said it since before the draft. I love his landing spot as well. They just drafted Drake London. Okay. They also have Kyle Pitts from last year. All right. He can sit behind Marcus Mariota this year, learn, maybe get some reps down the stretch, and Calvin Ridley might be coming back potentially in 2023. But I'm not holding my breath on that because they just drafted Drake London. So he's got a big target, 2 big targets, and time to learn.
Okay. I think you did a good job there, Mike.
Thank you, John.
I think you did a great job there.
Thank you.
I do, too.
I want to
like
leave as many drafts as I can with Desmond Ridder.
Yes.
Now,
So
as
John,
I try to...
I'm sorry. So, Brooks, you're up.
Yeah, as I try to now set myself up here, I'm going to actually kind of follow suit with what's going on in this draft, even though we're not really going to be seeing anything from this player this year. I'm going to take Malik Willis at my spot here. The reason being is I'm just going for the upside in the future. Now, we know that he's not going to play much this year. He's sitting behind, a nice comfy Tannehill in Tennessee. So we know that he's not playing this year, and, he might not play next year. But I do think he will play next year. I think there's a chance that he even gets in this year, barring injury. And if that's the case, I think that he could provide you not elite level upside when it comes to, his work on the ground, but, definitely the upside that you want to see in fantasy football at the quarterback position. Maybe he can scramble for like 40, 50 yards in a game, maybe get in when he's rushing in for the touchdown. The pick here is more upside than anything. And also it's because we're starting to creep into that territory where the names may not be so familiar to the average viewer. I'm going to go take the guy that, in my opinion, has that star power down the road still, who's available. And at a quarterback position, I'm going to go take Malik Willis here.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Not mad about that at all. All right.
All right, John, you are up.
All right. So now that we're in the third round. Okay, guys, we're in the third round of a rookie draft. At this point, you're looking at either, if you're doing a standard league, a quarterback, tight end maybe that you have high hopes on, or your shots in the dark, unless there's still some people that have fallen to you. So I'm going to grab my biggest hopeful project out of this draft class right now, and it's going to be Tyquan Thornton going to New England. Now, I really, really think that you got what Bill Belichick specializes in, and we're going to take one of the aspects out of that because it's 2022. But you got a tall, skinny guy that's pretty fast. He's not speedy, but he can move. So he's like 6'3", 180 pounds. I do think that he kind of can open up the top of Bill Belichick. There have been a lot of reports that of some of the the NFL analysts that are veterans of the NFL that have played with Belichick have given this kid a lot of hype, talking about how he is possibly one of the best sleepers in the draft. And I will have been swayed by watching just a little bit of him. And so if my shot in the dark in the third round could be anyone, it's going to be him. I have the most interest in possibly hyping him up as we move towards the season. Gonna have to see how he gets used in camp, and if he's one of those people that gets hyped up because, hey, he's practicing with first team in a team that has mediocre receivers.
All right. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love the upside. This is where you get to that upside. You're not going to find plug and play guys immediately, but you can find some gems if you risk it. You got to risk it for the biscuit.
You got to find your Amon-Ra St. Brown guys. You got to find your Darnell Moonies. This is where you find them.
All right. So it's true. So I'm looking at a couple names here, and one really sticks out to me that has a huge ceiling, and that's because he was supposed to be a first-round pick. However, he had a spinal injury. Receiver out of Clemson, Justin Ross, undrafted free agent, just picked up by the Chiefs. Like I said, his ceiling is huge. It's my fourth-round pick. I'm not worried about it if he doesn't pan out. However, if he does, the dividends could be massive. So, love Justin Ross. Last round, late round flyer. I love it. I was also looking at Calvin Austin. Just kidding.
The damn computer just sniped my quarterback pick.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Matt Corral.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
Well, now I'm on the clock here, and I'm going to be doing something that's a little homey, and I'm going to be taking Jeremy Ruckert. And now he
Love
is so he's the tight end that the Jets picked up this year. It was, not really the most flashiest one out of everybody else that they got in this year's draft, but this guy played at Ohio State. He was very, very productive. Mostly known just for a blocking tight end, but I think that he has the potential to kind of like work himself up. I think he was very, very underrated and underused in Ohio State as a pass catching tight end. They primarily used him as a blocker. And on top of everything, I am a Jets fan. This guy is a tremendous story. He was, grew up a Jets fan. You don't see that a lot nowadays. And he got drafted by, the Jets, and, his father, freaked out, and it was viral. So I'm going to take him. He's a perfect fit for anybody that, is playing in a taxi cab league. Stash him, store him. He's not going to be productive this year. I'll tell you that right now. But it's the 4th round. So anyone in a taxi cab league, this is my steal of the draft for like 2-3 years down the road. He should probably be worth something.
Running out of time. Take your pick.
No, yeah, sorry.
You're good.
All right.
Did get it in.
Mike actually is very upset that he went to the Jets. I'm going to tell you right now.
I am very upset. Yes, I really like Jeremy Ruckert because yes, he is a blocking tight end. However, he does make plays, and I do think I know everybody's on the Trey McBride, and the Greg Dulcich train. I do think Jeremy Ruckert could be the best tight end in this draft because he's going to be on the field a ton because he can block, but he can also catch and make some big plays.
All right. Hey, Mike, can you stop my pick or stop the timer on my pick? Just because I'm the last guy. So on the board right now, I'm sitting at the 409. I'm going to be drafting quarterback Sam Howell. I'm not going to leave any anticipation. Just because he's going into Washington. If he would have went to go get drafted last season, he would have been in the 1st round. He had a pretty unproductive season this year. Kind of really killed his draft stock. But this guy's incredibly talented and is only sitting behind Carson Wentz. Easily could be seeing himself starting for the Commanders next year. Now, before I take that pick, I'm just going to let you guys know of some players that I'm looking at that are still deep in this draft that are sitting here in the 4th round just before the end that if I wasn't going to be grabbing quarterback right now, I would be going to instantly. First one up is going to be Romeo Doubs, the other receiver that was drafted with the Green Bay Packers. He's got another good, solid frame, definitely speedy, very good route running, and they grabbed him for a reason. They have plenty of other reasons they could have used their picks. Now, another player that I'm actually really interested in is going to be Danny Green out of San Francisco.
Danny Gray. Sorry.
Danny Gray. Sorry. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Danny Green.
I agree 100% with you.
Yes. Especially if they move off of Debo in this offseason and he's still someone that's going to be traded. And then there is another name that is escaping my head. I'm not sure. Was he drafted? Okay. Well, I'll have to save him for another video if I can't find him right now. But yeah, so those 2 people would have been my pick, but I'm going to go with Howell, quarterback for Washington, who you'll be seeing starting next season. Yes.
Or this season.
Possibly playing some games this year.
Yeah.
So whenever Mike wants to restart the draft, I will make that pick and see how this
I'm going to make it right now for you. Isaiah Likely, another tight end that I like. Likely. Out of or going to Baltimore. Mark Andrews is not aging, but is getting up there. They just lost Marquise Brown. We know that how they like to use their tight ends. Just somebody you can grab if you need a tight end or a flyer tight end. I also do like there's one.
I can't find a guy like either.
Where'd he go?
Yeah, my like little sleeper of the draft before he went to Pittsburgh was Calvin Austin, but he went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Ty Chandler, running back, Minnesota. They drafted him with Madison needing a contract after this year. I do think he could be the backup there to Dalvin the following year. And if not, get some touches. And obviously, Madison never really lived up to the hype whenever he needed to. It was like, 1 week he'd ball out, next week he'd just kind of go away. So kind of like Ty Chandler.
I found who I was talking about, who I was looking for.
That?
Oh, sorry, Keontae Ingram for Arizona. Only person really backing up James Conner this season is going to give you Eno Benjamin, who initial first season was a healthy scratch due to coach's request his rookie year, and then barely even saw the field in his second year. No one backing up James Conner. Last year, you saw James Conner miss a handful of games. It's in his repertoire, and they've going to be using this guy. He's 6 foot, 215 pounds, and a wrecking ball. I definitely think there's some good fourth round upside on him.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, y'all. Well,
Love it.
That's it. That's
All
it.
right.
We deleted this draft. This draft's donezo.
Dunzo.
So, thank you guys
I'd be happy
for
with that for sure.
Are you going to let the computers finish it up?
No, that's fine.
You're not going to let the computers get their picks, man? They've been waiting patiently.
It's fine. No. They don't deserve it.
They've been waiting patiently.
So, all right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, Brooks, welcome to the show. Be on the lookout. We are going to drop a NFL draft post show, whatever you want to call it. Just reviewing not all the picks. Some picks we like, players we like, things of that nature. So be on the lookout for that.
Thank you guys so much for joining in. If you guys haven't already, if you guys are watching this YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon, and then make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, where you guys can keep up to date with what's going on with the show. Any breaking news, including some Arizona fans that are going to be missing a number one receiver for 6 weeks. Check in and see how that's going to be affecting your teams, and let's move on with the day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.